What you mean you don't know Panna? She's dope. What you mean?
What you mean?
What you mean?
What you mean?
What is poppin' YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Dope Ass Panna, and today in this video I'm super excited to give you guys an in-depth tutorial on some boho knotless, and today I'm going to be completing them in the size large, and I'm super excited for you guys to see how beautiful they turned out. So jumping right in, I want to give a huge shout out to YGwigs for sponsoring this video. They sent me 3 packs of their double drawn deep wave human hair, which I'm going to be using for the boho pieces. As always, they left a special gift in there, some combs, clips, and some tools to actually use these for micro links. And then obviously they gave me 3 packs of the hair. I'm gonna say right off the bat, guys, it was so full. I was like, wow, this is just 1 pack of it. And so I'm gonna show you how far this pack alone took me. This is the hair in 18 inches. The longest they have is 26 inches, which is actually super bomb. I would definitely be trying these in some longer lengths. So we're gonna start off by prepping the hair. I'm gonna put a little bit of product on my fingers and I'm gonna rub it across the top of the hair. This is just gonna make it easier for those pieces to stay together when they're prepped on the tray, because the human hair can definitely get a little bit messy, and because this hair is a lot more expensive, we want to make sure that we are wasting as little as possible, if none at all. So I would definitely recommend prepping out your human hair pieces before your client arrives, because this is something that is very tedious and takes a lot of time, and so you just want to make sure that you have this done. Otherwise, it's literally going to add hours onto your style time. To get that super full look, we are going to be adding anywhere from 5 to 7 pieces to 1 braid alone. So you want to make sure that you are prepping enough. For this style, it took me a pack and a half. So I would have prepped that all prior to my client coming. So anytime I'm doing knotless, I'm always going to start off by sectioning off the nape of my client's neck, and that's from the top of the ear down. This is just going to make sure that my parts at the top are all connecting. So we're going to work on this bottom section first. And since I am doing large knotless, I'm going to do 2 rows at the nape of my client's neck. This is my personal size guide for knotless, and if you don't have a size guide already, I'm actually going to be creating a video on this, but you definitely need to create one because it's going to create consistency within your work. We all know that knotless can appear larger or smaller when you do the same amount of braids on different clients. It all depends on the density of their natural hair and the size of their head. My client has a really small head, so these larges typically look like mediums on her, so we do want to just really keep that in mind if you guys will be following my size guide. Now, I realized that I did not show myself prepping the braiding hair, so if that's something that you guys need to see, let me know in the comment section down below and I'll get that done for you. But I'm using the same prep method that I always do. I overlap my braiding hair on a tray, and I am using 2 packs of the Dope collection in the color number 2. That's my own braiding hair line, and it will be linked in the description section for you guys. So I included a time-lapse video so that you guys can see me prepping out the braiding hair. I used 2 packs of the Dope collection in the color number 2, and I do like to prep on a tray and have my pieces overlap. So jumping right into the tutorial, we're going to split our client's natural hair into 3 and begin our braid. I like to add my first piece in at my first twist of the braid. I'm going to add in 3 pieces before I add in my first piece of human hair. So these pieces that I'm adding are fairly small and they're matching the density of my client's natural hair. You want to make sure that you are adding smaller pieces versus larger pieces. By doing that, you'll create seamless transitions in your braid and you won't be able to tell where you added in those pieces of hair. Now we're going to add the boho pieces in 2 different ways. When you're at the root, before you have switched your hand position, you're going to take the boho piece and you're going to put it in between your pointer and your thumb finger, and then you're going to use the comb to kind of anchor that human hair piece. So I'm going to stick it in the comb, and I'm braiding in the tail end of the human hair into the braid. So I'm just going to continue braiding, and you want to make sure that you are braiding in at least 1 inch to 1.5 inches so that if your client is detangling their hair in the future or if their hair gets pulled, the boho pieces are not coming out. Now for all the braids on the nape of the neck, I'm going to be adding in 5 pieces of the boho human hair. So I'm just going to braid down about an inch before I add my next piece. And because my hand position has changed, I'm going to be adding this one over the top. I'm going to put the tail of the human hair with the left side, and I'm still going to use the comb to anchor that piece, and then I'm going to continue braiding. So because my hand position changed, I'm adding the hair in differently, but those are still 2 different ways that you guys can add in your boho pieces. And again, I'm going to braid down a couple inches before I add in my next piece. Now with the boho pieces that you're adding in, you also don't want those to be too thick, because as you're adding them into the braid, you don't want your braid to get super large, or you basically don't want it to change the size of your braid. So you do want to be careful about that. Also, sometimes the human hair will tend to stick out of the braid, so to prevent that, you can do smaller pieces. Remember that the amount of pieces that you add to the braid is going to determine the fullness of the look. So for those of you guys who are going for a super full look, I would keep adding in pieces every inch that I braid down. Anywhere from 7 to 10 pieces is going to give you a really full look. Today I'm doing 5 at the nape of the neck and 7 from the ear up. So you guys will see as soon as I'm done with this braid how full this bottom row already looks, and I absolutely love it. This has actually been some of my favorite boho hair that I've worked with. I just love the texture of it. I love the curl pattern. Deep wave is my favorite to do with boho. And at the end of this video, I'm going to be showing you guys a wet and a dry look, because right now it looks really full. But if you also want something that is tamed, I can show you guys how to get that look as well. So now guys, to get in the products that I'm using to braid with, at the root I am using the Dope Collection, and I am using Pure O Neat Braid to braid down. This is my absolute favorite combination. I love the Dope Collection at the root because it gives me a super strong hold, and it creates just a nice grip for my root, but it is an edge control, so I do like to use Pure O Neat Braid to braid down because it just helps my fingers glide down naturally, and it prevents my fingers from feeling sticky or anything like that. So this is my absolute favorite combination, and like I said, everything that I'm using will be listed in the description section for you guys. So for my large knotless, I do 6 rows on the entire head, and that's broken down into 2 rows at the nape of the neck and 4 rows above the ear. This here is my 3rd row that I'm working on, and you guys can see how it already looks super full. These were actually my favorite set of boho that I had ever done, and I just am really excited for you guys to finally see the finished look. So let's talk a little bit about something that most people, I feel like, braiding struggle with, and that is how to get all your braids the same size, how to know that the pieces that you're adding in are the correct size. So I'm gonna start by saying that, me being realistic, I have to say that some elements of braiding are definitely going to come with experience and practice and time. So when you are separating hair for knotless, I would always say make smaller pieces versus bigger pieces, because we can always build our braid up, but it's harder to make our braids smaller. It's easier to make a braid bigger as you're going. Secondly, when your braid is forming, you have to actually look at your braid forming. So think of the braid next to it as a guide braid, and you want to try to do your best to match the sizing of that braid. So as it's forming, you have to physically look and say, hey, okay, like my braid is getting bigger. I might have to take a piece out, or my braid is like getting skinny as I'm braiding it. These are all things that a beginner braider would be able to look and see, but an experienced braider would be able to feel in our fingers. I can kind of feel when braiding hair is thinning out in my fingers or when I need to add in a piece, but something like that just comes with experience and time. So the answer to how to get your braids all the same size is you want to prep your pieces all the same size, but you have to physically look at your braid forming, and you have to be able to say like, hey, it's getting bigger, it's getting smaller. And until you kind of build that awareness as a more advanced braider, you have to just use your judgment, look, and you may have to take a braid down or not. But taking those steps to kind of just like ensure that you are doing the best work that you can is all going to help you become a better braider in the future. And like I said, with time, you will be able to feel these things in your fingers versus having to just only rely on sight. Now you guys will notice as I get further down the braid, I transition from using the comb to anchor my human hair into using a clip. And the reason why I do that is because obviously these pieces are not going to reach all the way at the root. So you want to use the clip to kind of just keep that human hair piece out of the way, and you can continue to braid down. So this pair is sold by the pack. They have deals, so the more packs you purchase, the more money you actually save. And I did want to show you guys how far I was able to get with one bundle of the double drawn hair. You have 3 options. There's a single drawn, double drawn, and super double drawn, and each bundle is made up of a composition of short and long hairs. So obviously, if you get the super double drawn, you're getting more longer pieces in your bundle, so it's going to add a lot more fullness to those tapered ends. Again, I had the middle one and it was super full, so I can only imagine what the double drawn would be. But guys, I absolutely love this hair. I did include a chart so that you guys can see the difference between the different options, and you can see the makeup of the hairs below also. Now, I am using 100% human hair 100% of the time to create any of my boho styles. Now, I have gone through a bunch of different synthetic brands. I've tried sealing them with got to be glued. I tried doing all types of things to try to make the synthetic hair work, and it almost always just turns into a tangled and matted mess. So if you're going to be doing bohos, I would almost always recommend 100% human hair. And as braiders, we have to really make sure that we're educating our clients on the upkeep, because even the boho human hair can get tangled over time if it's not properly taken care of. A lot of people are getting this boho style and realizing like, dang, it's a lot more work than I thought it was. But we have to remember, like, these are not just regular knotless braids, especially when we're making them this full. The human hair tends to wrap around the braids and stuff when we're sleeping, so I would recommend either twisting your braids or braiding them together before you go to sleep so that they're not just kind of like laying around any type of way in your bonnet. I would also recommend a silk bonnet, because we all know that cotton pillowcases, cotton bonnets will dry your hair out. I don't even know if they make cotton bonnets, but try to get silk. So I'm gonna finish up this last braid, and then we're gonna do our finishing touches. Just to talk a little bit about the ends of the boho, there are 3 different options. One, you can keep them straight, which I used to like to do, but lately I have not been liking to do that. 2, you can curl them with rods, and that's what I'm going to be doing today. The third option is actually braiding in this human hair at the ends of the braids, and I don't like doing that anymore because I feel like it's tedious, and to be honest, I like curling it with the perm rod. I think maintenance wise it's a lot easier on the client, and it's not like a super similar look, but it still gives it like a super full boho look. So yes, the only thing that I'm doing different is, if you guys know me, you know that I love the gray rods, but for this look today, I'm actually going to be using these like light orange rods. They are a lot thicker, and I feel like it matches the curl pattern of the Bohemian hair a lot better. So right now I'm just testing out that human hair, making sure that when it's dipped, it's still going to hold a curl. You guys can see that it's a little bit loose, but it still is holding its curl pattern, so that lets me know as I'm dipping it will be okay if the boho hair touches the water just a little bit. So next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those perm rods and I'm going to go ahead and rod the ends of my client's hair. I'm going to clip as much of that hair out the way that I can, but some of it is going to be touching the hot water, and that's totally fine. That's why we test it out before we do it. And I'm going to be doing about maybe 6 rods on the end of my client's hair. You just want to make sure that you are getting all the braids, because y'all, sometimes they're tucked away in those curls. And yeah, we're gonna do the dipping and we're almost done. I'm excited. I've actually been wanting to create a video where I show you guys what different rod sizes look like on braids. I just haven't got around to doing it, but if that's something that you guys will want to see, let me know in the comment section down below and I'll get it out for you guys. So I am taking the best edge control, the Dope collection, and I'm gonna be slaying Bree's edges. Y'all, she damn near be one of her edges to touch her eyebrows, but I am doing a fluffy edge look, something just really soft for her. And yes, this is actually my last touch before we get into the final look. So for this style, I'm going to be showing you guys a wet look and a dry look. For those who want a super full look, I would recommend dry. For those who want something more tamed, I would recommend a wet look. This is the finished look and this is a dry look, so I have not added any mousse to the curls. This is just their natural curl pattern. You guys can see how nice and how full that looks. I absolutely love the dry look because I love big hair. If you guys know me, you guys know that I love big hair. So this looks so bomb. Now for the wet look, to achieve it, I'm just going to go in and I'm going to take my mousse and I'm going to fully mousse the hair down. And this is just going to tame those curls and soften them up a little bit. This is definitely for someone who wants, like, you know, the full hair look, but wants, you know, it to kind of be a little bit more flat and not as full and voluminous. So this is the wet look, and you guys can see what I mean when I say that it's a lot more tamed, but I really love this look too, y'all. I was kind of torn. I was feeling both of them, but I was really feeling this. So we actually took it a step further and styled it a little bit for you guys. So this is a cute little half up, half down with a bang on it, and you guys can see she flipped it to the side. Literally love the soft edges with this look. It just definitely gives it an island vibe, y'all. This is probably one of the best vacation styles for sure. Next, I also have one of my favorite looks. We did a bun at the top. It was kind of like a messy bun with a couple of the curls just hanging, and I love this boho hair. I'm not even gonna lie, I'm adding YGwigs to my lineup because this hair is definitely a must-have. Like I said, everything will be linked in the description section for you guys down below. If you guys love this video, don't forget to let me know, and as always guys, I will catch you guys in my next video. What you mean you don't know Panna? She's dope. What you mean? What you mean? What you mean? What you mean?